this video is for your Greek class. It goes along with Croy chapter 27. I would definitely grab the textbook and follow along this time because there's just a lot of things going on in this chapter. It's kind of a cleanup chapter for pronouns and tiny words in all kinds of ways. You can see what I mean in a minute. It starts with this, and that's kind of what I've titled this video, but there's a lot of other things in this chapter too. You have these interrogative pronouns and adjectives, which these are question words. So tis, tinas, tini, tina, tines, tinon, tisin, tinas. They basically follow that third declension. As, e, a, es, on, sin, as. And then here's the neuters. That nominative and accusative is always the same in the neuter. And then the as, tini, tinas, tinon, tinis, tisin, are exactly the same as the masculine. So it's not that the form of this is unusual. And these are question words. And they can mean any kind of question that we have in English. They're not distinguishing between these in Greek. Instead, you have to know from the context. So it could mean who, could mean what, could mean why, could mean when. Mostly it's going to mean who, what, which. But it could mean a lot of different things. And so that's it. Here's the trick, though. These ones ask questions. And do you see how the accent is on the first part of the word? I'm going to switch the screen. These ones we call the indefinite pronouns. They are spelled exactly the same way. But in this case, the accent is on the last part. Or there is no accent on the first sets of words. Do you see it? I'll go back. These are the questions. And they have an accent. And then they have an accent on the first syllable. The t, 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 t. See that? But then indefinite pronouns don't have an accent in the nominative singular. And then they do have the accent on the second part. This is one of the only times that the accent maybe would help you out or matters. This now means a certain one, or someone, or anyone, something like that. Let me see if I can walk you through some translations and you can see it. So the interrogative pronoun would be this. See how it's got the accent mark? Tis, didaskes, ta tekna, who's teaching the children. Or tini, see how the accent's at the beginning? Ton, andron, elalesas, to which of the men did you speak? As an adjective, it would look like this. Ti biblion, what book? Or which Bible did the woman want? Tis basileus, what king does not want to have power? Do you see how it's on the first part of it? When I change it to being the indefinite and just the accent moves, it changes the whole meaning. So aeon, tis, see how it's got no accent? Apen, if someone speaks, you all will listen. Akusete, you will listen. Uk ekusin, te kata su. They don't have anything against you because it's in the neuter. Anything. So someone, something, anyone, anything, a certain thing. Those are all part of your vocab definitions for this word, and you'd have to pay attention to the accent. Here it is as an adjective, because it can do that too. A certain man. So, anertis. Or, hi, adelphi, aelthon, epi, ti, hodon. Hodon. So, the sisters came upon some water. So without the accent, it means that. Or if the accent was at the end, I don't have any examples up here that show you that. But that's all that you're looking for. That's the first and main part of this chapter. If you wanted to pause here and go back and listen to this again, this is longer than some of the other videos that I've had for entire chapters in this part of the course. So just have to really, 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 really pay attention, and you'll be able to get this. There's two different things going on. They look exactly the same, except for accents. The rest of this chapter covers a number of things. Relative pronouns are these. The form of them is going to be easy for you because it's the ending of other nouns and adjectives that we've seen. Here's what they're doing, though. They are creating the introduction to a clause, and then they have their own function in the next clause. So a relative pronoun is like, well, I'll give you some examples here in a second. A relative pronoun does this as you're trying to understand it. It agrees with the noun that it's referring to in gender, and in number, but it might have a totally different case than its antecedent. So here's an example. Ha-aner, the man. Which man is it? The man hos elthen apo tes komes. The man who came from the village. In this case, hos does agree, because who came, it's the subject of that other clause, but then the whole clause is describing the man. In some examples, though, it's not going to work quite like that. So, hegune, hain. It's in the accusative. Adamen. Which woman is she? She's the woman whom we saw. We saw the woman. And so in this case, you need the whom. We don't do that very well in English anymore, but they were still doing this in Greek at the time the New Testament was written. And so you want to pay attention to this. Ede akekoamen tauta ha legate. The ha refers back to the tauta. Already, we have heard these things. Which things? The things about which you are speaking, or the things that you are saying. I don't think there's a shortcut to this. I don't think you have to necessarily memorize this. Instead, I think you have to do the sentences from this chapter and from the quick quiz, and we'll just learn them in context. There are some exceptions in this chapter, too. An important and fairly common exception to the above is that if the antecedent is in the genitive or the dative, sometimes, even though it should have a different case in the relative clause, it doesn't. Here would be an example from the genitive. Akuamen ton lagon hon. That's telling you that it refers back to the words. We hear the words. Which words? The words which your daughter was speaking. Hon is the wrong case, but it's helping you to know that the phrase goes back to it, which is true in Koine Greek, the common Greek, because they're trying to help other people figure out what clauses go with what. And gis usi, to argo, ho, so this is one in the dative. They are drawing near to the field which the king brought. Again, you're not writing in Greek, you're recognizing it. It's going to be right. It's just like, you can expect that sometimes it's going to change cases and sometimes it's going to stay in the same case. And definitely if the antecedent is in the genitive or the dative, it's more likely to stay in the same case. Here's some other things to help you out with this. Maybe to help you out with this is that conditional relative clauses usually have this particle on, which adds to the indefiniteness. Sometimes we add ever to something to make it make sense. So here's an example. Hos aeon. That would be the on. It's in the aeon. Epe. Kata pneumatos. Eleusatai. Ace chrison. Whoever speaks against the spirit. So those two words together mean whoever will come into judgment. Here's another one. Ha aeon, which again, that works because it's got the on as part of it, but you could also have the on by itself. Whoever or whatever you ask me. So the ha in this case is functioning as the neuter thing. So whatever you ask me, I will send to you. One more example. Hapu aeon, kerukthe, hutos halagos hamartoloi, so thesontai. Wherever the word is preached, sinners will be saved. Sometimes you just don't translate the on at all, though, too. It's sometimes just helping you to realize that you've got something unusual going on in the relative clause. For indefinite relative pronouns, the indefinite relative pronoun is a combination of this hos, so that whole chart, and then the tis chart from the beginning of this chapter. So when you have something like hostis, hatis, hati, then both parts of the words get declined, and so the beginning part changes and the ending part changes, and so you have something like this. Whoever wishes to follow me must believe. So hostis. Like I said, there's just a lot of things going on in this chapter. You could watch this video twice, you can look at it, but we're going to have to mostly learn it in context. If you have some questions, feel free to email me those questions or bring them to class and we'll talk about it. This is one of those things that you're not going to learn just in one lesson. We're going to have to learn it over time by just doing it again and again. But you can learn it, and so I'm excited for us to get to know Greek in that way. Okay, looking forward to chatting with you about this